The shocking true story of a dentist who poisoned his wife. It seemed like a quiet Sunday morning in Aurora, Colorado, when the police suddenly received a frantic call from a worried neighbor. Something was terribly wrong at the Craig household down the road, and the authorities needed to act fast. As the officers arrived at the scene, they were met with a terrible sight. 43-year-old Angela Craig had been rushed to the hospital, and she wouldn't be coming back. Her 45-year-old husband, James Tolliver Craig, was standing in the living room, looking strangely composed despite the upsetting circumstances. At first glance, James seemed like a respectable man. He was a successful dentist, a pillar of the community, and a loving husband. But as the police looked deeper into the case, they found a dark and twisted story that would shock the entire town. According to the arrest affidavit, James had been slowly poisoning his wife for months. He was lacing her food and drinks with lethal doses of multiple chemicals, including sodium azide and potassium cyanide. Angela had been going to the hospital a lot recently, suffering from mysterious symptoms that no one could explain at the time. She had lost some weight, was constantly vomiting, and had difficulty breathing. At first, James was a devoted husband, staying by her side and supporting her through the illness. But as time went on, his true colors came out. He became increasingly controlling and manipulative, insisting that he knew what was best for Angela and ignoring the advice of medical professionals. As the police pieced together all the evidence, they realized James had carefully planned out the murder. He had researched different poisons on the internet, bought them using his dental practice's account, and meticulously dosed his wife to ensure a slow and painful death. Authorities even found Google searches on how to poison a person without detection in his search history. It was a horrific, complicated, and calculated murder, as the police described it. James Craig was arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder, and the town of Aurora was left reeling from the news. The man they thought they knew was capable of unspeakable evil, and the loss of Angela Craig was difficult to process. Our team of officers and homicide investigators relentlessly tried to unearth the truth behind the victim's unexpected sickness and death, stated Division Chief Mark Hildebrand. He went on saying, "It was rapidly determined that this was indeed a terrible, intricate, and planned murder. Our serious crimes murder team put a lot of effort into cracking this case and seeking justice for the victim, and I am quite proud of them for doing it." One news portal was able to get a hold of Craig's arrest affidavit, which provided information about the inquiry, including claims that Craig and his wife exchanged texts about an affair. The hospital staff had never seen anything like it. Angela had been in and out of hospitals for weeks leading up to her death, suffering from symptoms that no one could explain. She was losing weight, vomiting constantly, and having trouble breathing. But despite their best efforts, the doctors couldn't seem to find the source of her illness. On March 6, 2023, Angela got sick for the first time, and her husband, James, rushed her to the hospital. The doctors ran a battery of tests, but everything came back normal, so they sent her home with instructions to rest. It wasn't long before Angela was back in the hospital again. This time, she was there for several days before getting released, only to be sent back not long after. She was there from March 9th to March 14th. Each time, her condition seemed to get worse, and the doctors had no clue what was causing it. They didn't exactly know someone was poisoning her. Then, on March 15th, Angela returned with a severe headache, lightheadedness, and a seizure. She was obviously deteriorating, both physically and mentally, and the doctors knew they needed to act fast. As they worked to stabilize her, they began to suspect something was seriously wrong. There were no clear indications of what was causing the woman's symptoms, but they couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her story. Their suspicions grew stronger as Angela kept coming back. She was put on a ventilator, and her husband James was by her side, playing the role of a loving, devoted spouse. But the doctors couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off about him. It wasn't until Angela was deemed brain dead that the truth finally came out. After conducting more tests, the hospital staff discovered that she had been poisoned with lethal doses of chemicals. What would you do if you realized your spouse was poisoning you? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like this video so far, subscribe to You So Crazy to see more. Now, back to the story. The news of Craig's death sent shockwaves through the entire community. How could something so horrific happen to someone as kind and gentle as Angela? As the police investigated further, they uncovered a tragic story of calculated murder and deceit, with James at the center of it all. Authorities started looking into Angela's husband when one of the attending nurses was told by one of James's business partners that he thought James was poisoning Angela. The man asserted that James had recently ordered potassium cyanide for their dentistry practice, despite the fact that there was no medical reason or purpose to order it for their business. James reportedly acknowledged having a few issues in his marriage as well, according to the same business partner. The nurse then informed the police about her suspicions. James apparently asked the unnamed partner whether he had said anything to the medical staff, to which the man said that he was aware of the shipment that James had ordered. When questioned about this, James said that the package contained a ring for Angela, which he intended to surprise her with. He allegedly claimed that Angela asked him to order the poison for her, and added that he didn't think she would actually eat it. Additionally, it's said that James begged the man over text messages not to talk to the police, adding, "Angela is gone and I am sad." An office manager at his job testified to the authorities during the investigation that Angela wasn't feeling well after eating a protein smoothie, and that James decided to give her more protein since she felt lethargic. Also, after James informed his coworkers that Angela was suicidal and had been so for some time, a caseworker for Child Protective Services voiced the opinion that he was probably trying to make up a cover story ahead of time. The caseworker stated that no one else in the woman's family had expressed concerns about Angela's depression. A search warrant was eventually issued for James's home, dentist office, cell phone, laptop, and work computers as information came out. Authorities say that when they searched a computer inside his workplace, they found James's Google account had made a new email address. Investigators claimed that under this profile they discovered internet searches from February for the following terms: top 5 undetectable poisons that show no signs of foul play, how to make poison, how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human, is arsenic detectable in an autopsy, and how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human. The arrest warrant basically wrote itself at that point. The deliveries of potassium cyanide and arsenic were sent to the office on March 13th and March 4th, respectively, 2 days before Angela's first hospitalization. The orders were also supposedly connected to the account. Text messages also revealed conversations between James and Angela, including one from March 6th, in which she thanked him for preparing a protein shake before saying, "I feel drugged." Also, according to authorities, they saw emails that were intimate in nature and included sexually explicit chats between James and another woman. The second woman even visited him while his wife was in the hospital sick, according to authorities, and her flight schedules matched up with Angela's hospital stays. Remember, this killer cheated on his dying wife and the mother of his children while actively poisoning her. He is truly a terrible person. According to the documents, the other woman said she realized it had to be so difficult for him to be going through what he was. She said that she wanted to be there to support James, but didn't want to act like a simple friend. It seemed like she had no idea what was really happening either. James allegedly had many indiscretions throughout his and Angela's marriage, according to the victim's sister, who also claimed the killer once drugged Angela in the past. She also said that James wasn't going to let medical staff at the hospital perform an autopsy on his wife, claiming that if they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her while she was alive, they wouldn't be able to after her death. According to authorities, Angela's symptoms were consistent with cyanide poisoning. Shortly after the decision to take his wife off of life support was made, James was taken into police custody. He was arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder and is expected to make a court appearance soon, where he will soon find out whether or not prosecutors will officially press charges. He is being represented by the Public Defender's Office. Thank you for tuning in to learn about this despicable dentist from Aurora, Colorado. James Craig poisoned his wife for weeks while cheating on her with another woman. The alleged motive? He wanted to start a new life with his secret lover. This case is a tragic reminder that evil can often hide in plain sight. Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Angela Craig, and we hope that justice is quickly served. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more true crime stories like this one from You So Crazy. And as always, stay safe and stay crazy.